Welcome to the BoyFriends podcast, where we help you find your circle and your man. I'm Jarrod D. King. I'm here with Sarun, Renee, and Tony. Again, Melvin is not with us this week, but we've got another great topic to talk about. We're going to talk about small talk. I think the question is, what do I say when meeting someone new?
In terms of small talk,
yes. So what are your thoughts? So I guess we briefly touched on this just a moment ago. Like, you're not a small talk person.
No, I don't like networking events. I don't like chit chat. I don't speak to people that I don't even talk to people I don't even remotely like. I don't even try to be nice. Like, I just like, hey, and that's it.
Sarun doesn't talk to me very much.
Hey, man, we work. If we had a hangout dinner sometime and lunch as a group, let's do it. Mm-hmm. But my brain is when we're in this space.
I get what you mean. I was just fucking with you. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Don't nose boot me.
Oh, no.
I'm glad we met this way then, because if I met you out, I'd probably be like, what? He's like so like standoffish. Like, I mean, do you feel like you give off that vibe sometimes?
So it depends on the space, right?
Uh-huh.
So my friend, like, when we're talking about branding or whatever, my personal Facebook, people think I'm a comedian. I should be a stand-up or whatever. And that's that other side of things, right? That's my other morbid identity. Mm-hmm. But in general, if I'm forced to be in a space I'm not meant to be in, that I didn't choose to be in, I'm gonna be like that. Like, I'm only here because of not personal reasons. Mm-hmm. So if it's for work, it's for work. If it's for that, it's for that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, me naturally. Because of the marketing aspect, because of the branding aspect, with my personal business and my lifestyle, I have perfected the elevator speech, and I have to. When you're in small spaces or new spaces, you got to have small talk as your craft. You got to hit it, you got to quit it. What brought you here? What's going on? Small talk. Mm-hmm. But naturally and historically, I hate small talk. Mm-hmm. If I want to dig deep and I want to get to know people, and I don't have time to do that at a networking event. It's just simply for the purpose of X, Y, and Z. Yep. I'm a person who wants to talk about astrology. I want to talk about death. I want to talk about, things that just really matter. Like, small talk to me is just like, for what purpose? Really? Like, what are we doing this for?
I think that small talk is like great for maybe just like the first 2 to 5 minutes. I think small talk is a little like tester when like I'm on a date, and then like I do the small talk until like my first cocktail comes. Mm-hmm. Like, so like, where'd you grow up? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I grew up over here. And then like I'm like halfway through my cocktail, so I'm just like, okay, so like if you had to hide a dead body, how would you do it?
Yes, I think those are important things to do. But people need to learn how to do
hiding dead bodies.
Small talk is important.
Small talk.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think there is small talk is very important, and I think because I know that I'm a type of person who, well, I used to like really hate small talk as well. I think the better that I'm getting at it, I'm a lot more comfortable. I won't necessarily say that I hate it. But it's definitely an important skill to have, because when you're meeting someone new, you can't necessarily dive right into the deep end unless you just happen. Like, there are some moments, those rare moments where you're just like instantly like, ooh, we just get really deep on this subject and just, really like kind of vibe that way. But 9 times out of 10, you kind of have to feel your way through, and I think when I do small talk, I will start off with probably the, where are you from? When did you move here? Blah, blah, blah. And then I'll try to see these little nuggets of things that maybe we have in common. I went to, New Orleans a couple years ago. Oh, you've been there, blah, blah, blah. What did you like? How did you, those kinds of things.
Take off from there.
Right. You kind of have to look for those little... You have to look for those little things that you have in common to try to, try to peel back the layer a little bit.
That's why I said it's an art form. Or I'm saying it's an art form. And I have perfected the elevator speech. That's the epitome of small talk. What is the elevator speech? It could be in any setting. not just business related, but I can have an elevator speech because this is our first initial date, how we got here. I'm meeting you on a podcast when we first met up with each other. Hey, what do we each of us do in our personal lives and our business ventures? You have to learn how to have small talk. It is an art form for a reason. Because, and I say this because if I'm a person, I don't like it, but I have to do it, then get comfortable with it at some point.
Mm-hmm. Small talk for work.
Exactly.
Yeah, agree.
You got to get comfortable with it. And even dating. Yeah. Even friendship wise, I'm meeting a new friend. Like somebody came up to me in a grocery store, and I think I know next time never come out looking like this. I think like pajama pants and a hoodie, and I was like real incognito. I said I had to get something. I had to get creamer or something. I was going.
Tony's a big deal. He can't be seen out like that.
I had to get creamer or something for my coffee, and somebody stopped me. And it was like, "Hey, I follow you." I was like, "Damn it!" I was like, "Hi, how you doing?" You know, I'm like, "Well, where are you from?" You know, you follow my social media? Like, which my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook? Like, which one? Well, I got wind of you. Somebody would have the conversation on such and such. So I was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome! Thank you for your support." I'm trying to shop. You know, it's like, but yeah. What do you do? And it was like real small talk. But I was in the mood or in the right presentation to have small talk. You know what I mean? Like, damn, when it's least likely when you meet people, you meet people.
Oh yeah, I hate it when people try to have small talk with me, like on the bus. I'm like, bro, no, this is not. I don't want to talk to you. Like, yeah, we can like laugh about the homeless man that just peed over there, but I don't want to talk to you. The thing is, like,
there are some people who don't know when to stop and when to dip out.
Yeah.
Like, and I will say, even for example, I remember I was taking an Uber into the city, and I don't like to talk when I'm in an Uber. I don't like to talk to the driver. But, you know, the guy, he was very friendly. He said, "Hey, how are you?" I mean, as I'm getting in, I said, "Oh, I'm doing well." And then I took a beat, and it was like, I'm going to say it, "How are you?" And then I want to say for the whole 30-minute drive, he just went on and on and on. I didn't have a word in edgewise. I was dying.
No, some Uber drivers, like, they talk.
They talk.
And and it's like, especially it's worse when you're like hungover, you just got back from like your friends and you're just like, you're like on your phone and like even like you have your headphones in and they're just like asking you questions and talking. I think if you're gonna, you know, have small talk, pick your moments, guys.
You know what? That happened to me on the reverse. That happened to me on the reverse side. I used to drive for Uber. And this was an extra couple bucks, you know. I was so bad. And so because I would get the reverse, the customer would come in the car and they wouldn't want to talk. I just want to drive.
Right.
So what I would do, the setting in Uber, the driver, you can say, "I am deaf."
Girl.
So I always put that on. And so people are coming in, they already know what the car they picked, this person is deaf when they drive.
Oh wow.
And so that's what I would pick, because I would hate. I'm like, I don't feel like talking today. I would slide that button over and drive. And they knew not to talk to me. I feel so sorry if that was you, but I did that.
No, stop. Wait, can you imagine?
I'm sorry.
But can you imagine, like, someone, like, they tap you on the shoulder before you start driving, and then they just start signing to you?
Oh, God.
Oh, right.
That would be a whole Seinfeld episode.
Oh, man.
I know how to spell my name. I know how to do that. That's the only thing I know how to spell is my name.
Oh my gosh. Hilarious.
Oh my God.
But yeah, you know, it's like it's important to know when you're welcome and when you're not.
Yeah.
Because I remember I want to say it was a couple days ago. I was at what was it, U-Bar or something, and there was this, you know, there was this group of guys sitting at a table, and I just decided, I was like, all right, I'm gonna walk. I was like, "Hey guys, how are you? This is like a table of hotties, you know, y'all look, you know,
yes,
just try, you know, just
you
know, because I'm like, at this point, I don't care. Like, I've gotten so comfortable with just walking up and talking to people. I'm just like, whatever. They all ended up being coupled, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm the fifth wheel. I'm fifth wheeling it now. You know, I just tried to make it like not so awkward. But it's always like anytime I like approach someone or like a group, and I'm always trying to check to see what the temperature is. Because I've had, and they were fine, but I want to say a few weeks ago, I was out at another club, and I walked up to this group of guys, and they were very much like, why are you talking to us kind of thing. Like, I kept it friendly, and I was like, how are you? Where are you guys from? Blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to, once I got that, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to let you, I see, I'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a good night. And you kind of have to know when to jump out of a situation.
People know how to read cues. I was just telling this to Renee. People don't know how to read cues. That's a horrible thing. If you're gonna be in people's faces, you gotta know when to tap in and tap out. If you can't read social cues, then you don't need to be having small talk. I'm sorry.
Okay, but that's a good question, because there are a lot of people who don't know that. I mean, like, I know. There'll be like some funny videos online, or like people that are saying something very sarcastically, like a tweet that reads very sarcastic, and then somebody's under the tweet like explaining like, well, actually no, it's like this.
I hate
and
that
it's like,
word.
Bitch, you know what it was.
right.
Come on.
Well, no, but a lot of people, some people don't, and that's why you kind of almost have to put like sarcasm in like parentheses so that the people don't come in there trying to explain what you were trying to, So there are a lot of people who don't. I say that to say that there are a lot of people who don't understand social cues, and so what do we do to kind of help those people as well? Like, what would be some steps to?
Is it my obligation to really really? Is it my obligation to teach you social cues? Like, you gotta get it or not? Oh, you're gonna get it when you keep on getting enough of like, okay, bitch, leave. You get enough of those.
The easy cues is just body language. If they're not facing towards you and they're like more like this, they're not into talking to you. If they're looking around like this a lot and taking a while to like answer you or giving you short answers, they're not into it. Walk away.
Yeah, but I think that there are sometimes.
Did I just pick up on your cues of what you do?
There's a term I recently learned that I accidentally do, and I feel bad about it. It's called the Irish exit. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
I've never heard of the Irish exit.
What
you
is
just
it?
Get up and leave,
and
like quietly.
And then by the end of the day, when I'm reflecting, I was like, oh, I never finished that conversation with like 5 people. I just forgot.
I just got up and left.
Yeah, I just like bounced and like, oh.
All right, well, great guys, bye.
Yeah, no,
you don't even
that's
say
what
that, right?
That's great. And then I go, I walk away.
That's hilarious. But what I'm thinking more of on the level of there is some kind of like I don't even know if autism. If autistic people have that issue, I don't know what it is. They do. Yeah. Okay, and I don't really know if you can teach that, or there's probably some way that you can kind of get a little bit better of a grasp. But for the people that it's just like naturally just harder to pick up on those cues, well, like. Do we have any like strategies or anything that can kind of help them with? Well,
I'm just like I can kind of pick up on when someone just doesn't read my cues, and then I just kind of give up and just give into the conversation. I'm like, all right, and I'm just nice because like they just like I don't feel like being like blatantly like I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I would also say I think maybe like dating apps would work as far as. Because there's not so many different things to read as far as body language and tone and all that. It's just a text message, and usually I know when I text I have to be very clear about what I'm saying. I can't really do all the different like colorful stuff in my language because I want the other person to really understand me. So
what do you mean? Like, what do you say?
I'll just be very direct, and I won't be like. And I might say something funny if it comes up in the moment, but if it seems like the other person doesn't get it, then I will dial that back a little bit. So I think it's a little bit simpler of a communication mode than meeting somebody in person, and so that might help.
Well, let's talk about the differences between small talk in person versus the small talk on dating apps. Let's talk about what those differences are in small talk.
I think. I don't know. Honestly, I think I usually have the same conversations as I do, like on a first date versus someone that I'm like meeting on a date, or not even a first date, of like first meeting someone. I guess like on dating apps, I'm a bit more like I ask a little bit more questions until we find something in common.
On dating apps?
Yeah, I think I ask a little bit more like, hey, so like what brings you here? oh, that's cool. So like, where are you from? Awesome. I saw that you were into this. Why? And I think that small talk can get a little bit dry if you don't like find that instant like. Yeah. If you don't find that like that thing that you guys have in common by like the third or fourth question, it can get a little bit boring.
It gets very interview like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
on dating apps.
Here's how I view dating apps. It's like you are the billboard, and you know your advertisement is right here. And so when we're driving, people look down the highway, like, oh, look at that. And so I remember when I was at such and such corner, I saw this big billboard of Jarrod, and I want to go back to that corner to find out more about that advertisement. And so you're not gonna have for me. I don't have too much small talk on dating apps because I'm seeing what I like. If I'm reading too much, I'm like, yeah, this ain't it. If I'm I wanna engage with this person. You're already advertising via billboard. If that makes sense, billboard status of who you are. Mm-hmm. You already had this whole advertisement of what you like, what your interests are, where you're from. Or you should. Some people's pages are just really minimal.
That's the problem. Because if you have a good dating profile, I will go to that dating profile and I will see certain things that are in there, and that's where I will come up with the conversation. But if you have nothing, then I have to start at where are you from, what do you like, what do you want to do, blah 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 blah.
Good. And then talk about that. Good dating profiles next time.
That is a really good topic. Yeah, we should probably talk about.
But, you know, it's like and that's why, like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm like on Tinder, like, you can be the hottest dude ever. And if all you got is your Instagram, I'm swiping to the left.
Me too.
I know that's right.
Me too.
I know that's right.
Because I need some depth. I need something else there. And I know you get like 50
I hate
likes.
That when they like don't have a bio and
they
just
have nothing there.
They have like where they're from, their age. Oh, the worst. They just put their height and then their Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay.
And then they're not even 6'1", they're like 5'10".
Yeah. It's like your height is your whole personality. But it's
I feel like it's more work in person.
You think it's more work in person than online?
I feel like it's easier for me. I think that I'm really good at small talk. I'm really good at making people like open up and like talk to me. I feel like I get it from my mom. And I think it's like easier for me to like actually connect with someone when they're in front of me.
Yeah.
And like I can I don't know. I like that, like it's an easier back and forth.
So, Tony, what makes it easier for you on dating apps as opposed to in person?
I do make it intentional to have a good profile. Like I want you to feel like you got a sense of who I am as a person. You're not gonna have to guess. You're gonna when you message me, it's because you're messaging me because of certain things that you see in the profile. And I want to take the guesswork out of it. And I say, so when you're messaging me, it's like, okay, hey, I've seen that this, or I've seen that you are into, what are we going to do to get into that with you? For us to get into that together. And I'm like, oh, okay, I've got messages like that. Hey, I see you're into this. How can we do this together? I'm like, okay, great. Well, what's your name? Where you from? Let's go. Let's do it. Personally, when I meet you in person, it's like, I don't know the advertisement. I see the physical advertisement. That's it. So I feel like I have to work. It's like what I do if we're in a club setting. We talked about this before. I'll sit on your lap. You're by yourself. Hey, is a seat taken? You know, that's the way in. It's like, they think it's humorous, and they think it's okay. You're bold. You know, and then I'm like, okay, now I got to work more just to get to know who you are as a person. That's why I feel like it's more work personally in person because you don't know what the person's vibe is. Yeah. You don't know if they're just, hey, I want to be left alone. It's like, small talk is so, it can be so elaborate, but it's so simple.
You know, I have a harder time online, I will say, than I do in person. And I think it's because people don't know how to communicate online. You know, it's a weird dance. It's a really strange thing, really strange back and forth that you have to have online. I've kind of started making statements as opposed to asking questions every time, and just seeing if they come back with a response. Like, you know, oh, where are you from? I'll ask them where you're from. They'll say they're from Jersey. I'll say, oh, okay, I'm from Philly. I've been here, blah, 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 blah. And then just leave it at that and not, like, try to throw another question out. Just to kind of see if there is some kind of back and forth that we can have that isn't so interview-ish. You know what I'm saying? Because it very easily can get to that place.
It can.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because then they die out. I mean, like their whole conversation dies out like after 3 questions, and you know, I don't know.
But that's why it shouldn't be a yes or no. It should be open-ended questions. That's effective communication. I want to know depth, like you said. Open-ended questions should be the norm on dating apps.
Yeah.
What was the most interesting part of your day?
Oh, that's a nice question.
And so, like, you got to learn how to communicate in that respect. Like, okay, you're on a dating app. It's going to be ambiguous sometimes to figure people out. Like, how are you communicating? Some people don't know how. You're right, Jarrod. So get trendy about the way you communicate. If somebody said the most interesting part about my day and they asked me that, I'm like, oh, you're thoughtful. You really want to know. Oh my God, I had a child threw up on me while I was doing therapy or something like that. And that opens up a whole nother world. Get open-ended questions. If you want to have small talk, that's going to be immediately a benefit for you. Mm-hmm. This yes and no, this back and forth is going to dead it out real quick.
Yeah.
Try that.
Yeah, that's why I said I think I do like small talk for like, you know, like the first 2 to 5 minutes. I think it's like a nice way just to kind of at first just test the water, and then like I said, that's when we're like a little bit more comfortable with each other and we kind of get a good sense of each other. That's when I start asking like my weird questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that's when I like. That's
exactly.
What. And I feel, and then because they're more comfortable with me, I'm about to get like a bit more honest answers.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Because they gave me like, because we like had that initial like small talk of like, oh, where you from? What do you like? What's this? And then it's usually when we get to the whole like, what do you like? That's when I like get into like my whole true crime thing. I'm like, oh, I love true crime. This is how I would get away with a murder.
Mm-hmm, right.
How would you do it? Or like, okay, so like if you had a like how many like a serious question, how many 3rd graders do you think you could beat up?
Right, come on, that's
like,
fun stuff. I love that.
Like
Exactly.
no, like really think about it. Like how many 3rd graders do you think you can take on at once?
But that things that prompt you to think, Renee. I love that. That's people don't know how to think and prompt themselves to be in that manner.
And then it turns into like a fun conversation. And then like if like I ask those questions and they're not as receptive as they were with the small talk, then I'm like, you're boring. I don't.
Yeah.
So Jarrod,
like,
did you
if
do
you're
that?
Basic, just say that.
Open-ended questions, or is this a yes no?
No, I'm absolutely more. I absolutely am conscious about having more open-ended questions
now, or you've always been.
Always, for the most part. I mean, I think early, like in my early 20s, I may have been yes or no type of questions, but you know, I've since learned.
And you still didn't get what that back and forth like you want.
Sometimes we do. I mean, but sometimes it's like people on the apps. They're just not. No, some people are just not really all that serious. And I don't know. My fear is that the conversation goes stale. You know, like we can talk, and I think that, you know, it goes back to, you know, me being like, okay, so when are we going out? Because I can't do this.
That's the open-ended question.
But who
that's
initiates
important.
that? You're talking about when are we? Who initiates that?
I usually
if you want that, why don't you say, hey, what do you have time for this week? I'd like to take you out. Like, what's wrong with that?
And
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So what do you mean? When are we going out?
I'm saying that I can't have a super long texting like we're going back to this conversation that we had a few weeks ago, where the constant online conversations, like I can't, like, for me personally, I can't get a feel for who you are without seeing you in person and feeling all of the other stuff, all of the body language, all of the tone, and there's just a level of depth that you don't get from just talking online all the time. And I won't say that I necessarily lose interest if I stay on a dating app, but I feel like they lose interest if we stay on too long on a dating app. It becomes like, okay, because I mean, you have to think about it this way also. If you're on Tinder, like, you know, like, just go with me here. Your Tinder is off. Like, you know, and then you get a notification. Somebody sent you a message. So now you click that message and you're opening Tinder, and then you send your response. But while you're waiting for that response, you're going back over to the other page where you're like swiping a bunch of these other profiles. And so your attention is now drawn to the hot guy that you are looking through his profile. Maybe you just matched with this guy. And so it just like, it kills the vibe. It's just like your attention is not there when you're talking online. And I would say that for almost any dating app, because there's always those other choices and they're all immediately available. Whereas when you're in person, even if you're in a club with a bunch of hot guys, at least I can have your attention for a little bit and kind of feel you out. I don't know. I think it makes it hard. Like if you're constantly going back online, you've got so much competition with their attention. I mean, it's like, it's not even with just the other profiles that are on that app, but everything else that comes up on your phone. Maybe you got a notification on your Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing.
It's like difficult to stay engaged.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I think that's probably where the difficulty comes in, because people I know how it is. My attention, like I'll open up Google and I'll be like, what was the question I was about to ask you? You know what I'm saying? Like
I did want to ask Sarun, like, so how do you get through small talk? Like, because I know you don't like it, so I need to know, like, what are your points that you just, like, you force yourself to get through, and then you're like, Irish exit.
Well, if it's for work, just like Tony, I'm great at small talk when it's work related, right? So that's why I think that I don't like small talk in my end, because I don't do it in my personal life. If I have to do it in my personal life, I think it's work related, and I just don't do it. But I'm in the same boat as you. If we do have conversations, I get some type of way of they just go personal. But I love what if questions, like the things you bring up. I like what ifs. They're not related to anything, but it shows people's personalities. I'd rather have a whimsical conversation than anything too deep, because you can have deeper conversations later if you want them into your world, right? So my go-to is zombies. Like, where in Philly would you go to during the zombie apocalypse? What's the one place you would go to hide and camp out, right?
I wouldn't hide. I wouldn't camp out. I'm not
out of Philly, right?
No, I'm not.
And then the other question is, what's your exit? Like, because you live in South Philly, you're stuck if a car breaks down. You can't drive out anywhere, right?
I don't want to survive in a zombie apocalypse.
So there's just so many things.
That sounds awful,
right?
Like, take me out. Like, I'm fine.
Oh, no,
and like at this point right now, I can continue to talk with you about zombies for the next hour. See that? So it's easier to trick me into longer conversation if it's not about me.
Okay.
If it's not about you. It's about situations that we might be in that are imaginary, right? So that's my trick of like tricking me into like a longer conversation. If chit chat starts off straight to personal, which most of them do, we have to admit, like they're just trying to get to know you. It's understandable, and maybe it's not just it's making other people like made the situations making me be more receptive of chit chat, right? Like, why does the other person have to figure out how to chit chat with me? Maybe I need to be more open and giving, right?
Are you more open to small talk if a friend introduces you to their friend?
It's funny because maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's forced. It's forced. I'm the guy went to an event, and if I see someone who seems to be by themselves, we're on the same boat. Let's just stand next to each other, just chill and vibe together, right?
Well, I mean, and I don't even mean necessarily in a romantic sense.
Yeah, of course, yeah, okay. Exactly. Me too.
Same thing.
Yeah, my brain's never in a romantic sense. I think that's the thing. But yeah, for me, like small talk will be like standing in line. Oh, this bread's really good, right? Like this bread's really great with a sandwich. I'm like, okay, like it's food. Yeah, I don't think it's that great, but
like, it's freezing today, isn't it? Oh my goodness, it's really cold.
Yeah,
it's cold out there.
It's like it's cold.
It the temperature is low.
Gas is really high right now. It's crazy.
It seems like, but I think that I'm really good at small talk, because like if someone is just talking to me about the weather, then I'll just kind of like pull something up my butt. Like, what do you think like the worst weather condition would actually be right now? Like, what would you like if you like if you had to be cold? Where would you want to be cold? Or like, okay, so where should we go instead of this? Or like,
Would you rather freeze to death or die in a volcano?
Yeah, exactly. I like picking up on those like small things. Like if you suck at small talk, it's fine. I got you. I like small talk because I like getting to know people.
Oh goodness! So you like those elevator, you randomly run into a person on the elevator and they start talking.
I mean, not obviously not all the time. Like I said, don't talk to me. If you see me on the bus, don't ever talk to me. I'm in my zone. Yeah. I don't want to talk to you.
So you also have to pick up on those cues. Like if somebody has their headphones on, don't make them take it out so that they can hear what you like. That's dumb. Unless it's like an emergency, you know.
I was on the bus the other week and this girl, she tried to talk to me about Jesus. I'm like, girl, like I get your life journey, but it does not align with me on this bus right now.
What are some of your go-to lines, or what's what would be one of your go-to lines as far as initial starting off that small talk conversation?
How you doing?
What setting, online or offline?
Both. I mean, I don't know if is it different, and if it's different for you,
it could be different, yeah.
And I think it's situational. Like if I'm at a popping concert and I'm by myself, and I see you by yourself. Sometimes I do go to concerts by myself, or movies, or whatever, or dinner by myself. Sometimes it's situational. At a bar, if I'm ordering a drink, oh, what did you get? That looks so good. And sometimes that's a way in. Oh, I got a Malibu Sunset, whatever it's called, Sunset Malibu, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that looks so good. Like, what is it? Is it vodka? Is it white or dark? You have to understand situations. Sometimes it's different based on where you're at, location wise.
Definitely. I think that blanket would be how are you doing?
I had to catch myself.
I mean, I think that is a very easy way to be like, oh, I'm fine.
But that's where it stops. That's why I don't like that question. For me personally, I'm not judging your questions, but I'm just saying.
That's usually my first line. Like, okay, so yeah, how you doing today? Like, oh, good. I'm just like, oh, what's it like? Why is it going good? And then I just keep asking questions until we hit that one little nugget where I'm just like, there it is.
My neighbor caught me off guard with that, and I was running outside. I was in my robe and my pajama pants. Just went to go get something out of my car, and my neighbor was taking his trash can up to the house, and he was saying, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And then I stopped. I was like, "I'm good." Because he was literally asking a question. I just had a moment. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm good. How you doing? Good morning. But I was just so in a rush. And I do that often. So I say, hey, how you doing? I say, hey, how are you? And we don't answer the question. We just keep it. I'm pretty sure we all been in there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. I literally had to stop in my tracks. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm good.
But I have to be conscious not to ask that question when I actually don't want it answered.
Exactly. There we go.
That's why.
Because you might get one.
Right.
I learned that when I was in Germany. Because when you ask, we in America, we say how you doing as it's more like a hi.
Yeah.
But when in Germany, when I asked someone how they're doing, they actually told me. They're like let me tell you how I'm doing. It's sit down.
I love it.
And I'm like, all right, tell me about it.
So be more intentional about how you approach people and how they're approaching you and stuff okay, I like that.
Does anybody use a almost like one of those cheesy lines you've been, what is it, running through my mind all day. Are you tired? Because you've been running through my mind. Has anybody used those lines on you, first of all, and have you ever used any
for
of those
humor?
Lines?
Oh, not for real life.
I do that as one of my pickup line.
Yeah.
For a dating app is how they have a lemon emoji or a lime emoji or something like that. So they have the lemon emoji, and I'll just put a lemon. I'm like, sorry, I couldn't find a pickup lime.
Oh my God. And then you get blocked.
No, I don't. They think it's really funny.
Really?
They're like, I haven't gotten that before.
Oh, that's funny.
I've said, okay, somebody is on their laptop at a bar or whatever, or somewhere in a restaurant, and I sat down next to them and said, "Thank you for waiting." And they was like, they were looking at me like, "What?" And I was like, "You're waiting for me, right?" I said, "You by yourself." You know, but that's so cute. And they was like,
I like that.
And they'll close the laptop. What's your name? How are you? And we get to talking.
That's so cute.
No, I do that when I lie. And if somebody might be just, having a drink by themselves, I'm like, "Oh, thank you for waiting. I'll have this." And I talk to the bartender. I'll have such and such. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And so that's a quick little one, really cute little humor, but it sounds like you're engaged in conversation.
But I think it's like unique to you as well.
Yeah.
It's not one of these lines that you just Google pickup lines. And so I think, saying that, don't get it twisted. That works for Tony. That might not work for you.
I'm here.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm here.
I'm here.
Well,
I'm looking at you like,
no, wait, can you imagine? And then I could just imagine me doing that, and a straight man would look at me like I'm fucking insane. He'd be
"Oh
like,
my god, you don't think so?
yes.
Y'all should try it out."
Okay, I will definitely try it, but like I can just like straight men, I don't know, something about straight men, they're like on a different wavelength. I feel like if I did that to them, they would be like, they would because like they would be digging through their head like, how do I know her? How do I know her?
Jarrod, do you think you can do it? But it's the lightheartedness in it. Do you think you can do it, Jarrod? Hey, thank you for waiting.
Thank you for waiting.
See, y'all not.
I think I could, but I mean,
it's more about pizzazz, more pizzazz. You can't just say, "Oh,
but you know what? I come in when I.
No.
I was saying like when I approach someone, it's either very like, I don't know, I have my own little humor, kind of like what I was saying, like I approached that group of guys at the table and I was like, "Hey, how y'all doing? This is a group of hotties, what's going on?"
Right.
Just compliment,
I
throw the
would say something
compliment
like
out there.
that too, yeah.
Or sometimes it's like sometimes it's as simple as saying, "Hey, is this seat taken?" Just like genuinely asking, "Is the seat taken?" And then kind of keeping the conversation going. Huh?
Don't sit on that lap like I.
Oh,
like
no. I'm not sitting on anybody's lap. I can't do that.
I think the only reason I'd be too scared is if they had a girlfriend, I would feel kind of bad.
But even when the girlfriend walks in, "Oh, I didn't know. This is a thing." Like,
ma'am, I would get my fucking hair pulled
because I had it happen
out.
to me before. Somebody had a boyfriend. They was like, "Oh, you right, bro." He always let people sit on his lap. I'm like, okay, and that's like the three of us having a conversation now.
Oh,
y'all can't be afraid to like, come on, just take a little risk.
Nah,
okay, you know what? I don't feel like getting my
not
eyes
sitting full laps. No, I'm just talking about like that's
Okay.
just my approach.
You mean like
risk.
rest the left cheek or something on the.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
Okay.
Just a little risk. Y'all gotta be afraid to take a risk.
Okay, how about when we all go out together, we're gonna do some Tony risks.
Oh,
and we're
God.
we're just gonna do that. We're gonna
Take a Tony risk or take a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I need a shot before I take a Tony risk.
Yeah.
I think the one, hey, thank you for waiting. I think that's simple and safe. I think y'all can do that, but it's how you come at it, not just say. Just
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it depends.
Have some jubilee about yourself. You know.
No,
Jarrod,
I hear
you
you.
can do it. I know. I believe in you.
You can do it, baby. You can do it.
We'll see. I might give it a go this weekend. Who knows?
On.
Could you? You probably don't.
I would be like, "Hey, sit on my lap."
Oh wow.
That's me.
Yes, come on, Sarun.
Oh.
I could actually see that working for you. Oh my goodness. All right. So I mean, I think we've given some people some things to chew on as far as, initiating small talk. I think it's really just about being authentically yourself and just taking a little bit of risk. It doesn't have to be as crazy as Tony says. It can be more of a genuine, "Hey, how are you?" Or, I really like your shoes or something. Then start about the shoes. Just
I've did that before too. Yeah. I love that coat. Where do you get it from?
Yeah. Or what are you drinking? Maybe I might want to get one of that. I might want to get that. Or something. Or like compliment them. It can start off that easy, but then you want to keep that train moving. You want to follow up with another question. You want to, kind of show off your personality as well. You don't want it to get stale. But yeah, if you guys have any more like questions as far as that is concerned, because I feel like it's very situational, like you said, Tony, and Renee. I feel like it's, you know, depending on the type of person and the type of situation that you're in, it might change a little bit. But yeah, I mean, if anybody else has anything else to say.
I think we good.
Yeah, I think we got it.
All good. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us again this week. Please give us a like. That helps us on the YouTube algorithm. We want everybody to see this.
A like,
Please
a share, a follow.
Yes, and give us a rating on the podcast as well, to help us boost ourselves up in that list. So yeah, until next time, if you have no one else,
You've got us.
you got us.